We have been discussing for quite some time that we would be bringing in uh, some of the experts to talk about the mental health and the well-being during work from home. So it has been we are in a kind of a stage where the work from home is getting extended, and it is a kind of it has been forced on us now. And though initially we all liked working in that environment because this is what we have been looking for, working with our family, working from our home. But now it is becoming where we really want to, come out, come to the office, talk to people, and have that camaraderie we used to have with our office colleagues. So we thought of inviting Dr. Rakhi Samir, and we are fortunate we have her with us today. So just a little bit of introduction. Rakhi is Dr. Rakhi Samir. She's a internationally accredited life and relationship coach, and she has a very long career and experience in coaching and mentoring. And well, she has a very multifaceted personality. She has not only been a life and a relationship coach, she has also been a college lecturer, a corporate trainer, a feng shui master, and she's also a writer. And she has published a book, which I'm sure if Deepak is listening, he would love the title of the book, which is Psychology of Money. So she has written a book called Psychology of Money, and we are really fortunate today to have her with us. And she is joining us from near Nainital, where she is camping currently with her family. And over to you, Rakhi ma'am. It's really been a pleasure.
Yeah, hi Vineet. So thank you so much for this kind introduction. And see, I'm a life coach, which is not at all something technical and like you people do. It's a very basic and simple thing. Life coach is somebody who can hold your hand at every point of time in your life. You know, like you need a cousin or a friend or a mentor or a teacher or an aunt or somebody in the family, which we always used to have in joint families. There was somebody other than your parents, because if your parents were busy, there would be somebody to hold your hand, to tell you about things without your realizing that you are learning. Somebody, your go-to person for everything that happens or does not happen in life. So actually life coach is simply that whenever you are stuck with something in life and you have a question, whether mental or physical, career, professional, anything, you can go to that life coach. So life coach is not just that for say for a couple of sessions, for a few months. Life coach is probably there, and ideally it should be there for the life, for your entire life. You know, you have to hold hand, and you can anytime, like most of my clients, even post their that whatever that trauma, that session, that period is over, they're still in touch with you. They keep coming to you. Maybe there was a relationship problem between a husband and wife, they were consulting me for that, but then they patched up, everything was fine, is fine later on, but still they come to me as a couple, as a happy couple. Then they come to you for various things in life and they're getting stuck. It is not necessarily that you have to have a big major problem, that with that you go to a life coach. And life coach is not just for your mental stability or that you are imbalanced mentally or something. Life coach is just your go-to person for anything. Like these days I'm helping a person, she's a jewelry designer. She couldn't, when she started, pandemic hit, and so she's feeling lost now how to go about it. She has invested so much, so I'm telling her how to start. I myself never been into jewelry or designing or selling of anything, but I'm telling her how to go, how to advertise, how to market it. So a life coach has to be for everything once you go to the life coach. So as far as the life coach thing is concerned, it is that you just have a problem and you think of him or her and just Even if you write a message, you'll get an answer from me within 24 hours. And for
Right.
relationship, it is like that. Relationship is something very specific, which I discovered after having practiced as a life coach. I discovered that this is what I want to specialize in more than anything else, because there are a lot of problems in relationships. And
Right.
because of that, and our relationship with ourselves also is problematic. So I work on all those kind of relationships. Once you are at peace with your own self, you are at peace with everything. Then you can sort out people, you can be happy with people if you are happy within yourself. So first and foremost is your relationship with yourself, which is distorted in the first place. So I work on
Right.
all those, and which is challenging and fun, because and now in pandemic I'm getting more and more, and especially from very young people, Vineet. It's very very young, like young in the sense of 10-year-olds and 14-year-olds. They have problems because kids are not going to school anymore. They are at home
Yeah.
all the time. Parents are at home. So kids are being exposed to a lot of unnecessary things, arguments, discussions, various things which are happening at home, which earlier children were going to school or they were going for basketball, tennis, something or the other. So they were not being exposed to all that. Today, a child is being exposed to everything. So the first
Right.
problem that you will see in the child, and even millennials, like most of your employees are, that they will feel a disturbance in their sleep. That the first sign of something which is hitting you, your mind, and you're getting disturbed. And a lot of children are having this problem. They can't sleep properly, like till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, until the time 11, 12, they're awake and they're on the net. And because they're doing everything online, the classes, all the everything is happening online. Then they are addicted to that, and then later parents can't check what are they doing. They are all the time, and then disturbs the sleep. They can't sleep.
This is what I was trying to come to and ask you and take your mind share in terms of, in our lives, we are taught from our childhood about achieving a balance in life. And, we always strive to achieve that balance. And, but now what we are seeing is because of this work from home, a lot of things have changed so drastically, and which has left people confused in terms of how to achieve that balance. So on one hand, they're working in organizations, they have to be productive, they have to be available for all the calls. And then on the other hand, they get affected by what they're seeing inside their home to their families, and what they are seeing, what is happening outside because of the COVID and the pandemic going on. So we'd like to understand from you, uh, how do you see this entire situation panning out, and what would be your advice to people, youngsters who are, working in organizations, and they're trying to cope up with this kind of situation?
Yes, youngsters are, one, because they are at a crux, who have just completed their MBAs or BBAs, say last year or a year before that. They are at the beginning of their careers. So they are stuck. They are working, they have jobs, like they are working with you. So they have the jobs, they are doing something or the other. But what is happening is, one, there is a lot of learning which can happen while you are in offices, because you learn a lot from your seniors, your bosses, their working style, how they deal with people, how they deal with situations. So all that they are missing out on. That the real human interaction which happens in society, in offices, they are not exposed to that. They can't see that. They cannot witness that how my boss is handling this situation, which can later on be of help to them. They are not exposed to that kind of thing. And also they are what you told me yesterday also, that you've been telling your staff about that they have to be physically active, they have to schedule themselves, they have to, which is everywhere. It is like everywhere in newspapers, net, you get everywhere that how you deal with it, which I'm sure you all know, that one, you have to have a schedule. You have to follow a strict schedule, strict timing, and discipline yourself according to the time, that these are my times where I will take a call, post that I will not take a call. Like you, there can be an encroachment on your personal time, by your bosses also, because you are always available then on the calls, and that has to stop. You do not have to take calls at the time which you do not want to. It cannot enter your bedrooms. So your time, everything has to be restricted. Seriously, you have to discipline that 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 is my office time. Beyond that, I will not do anything for my office. And like you have breaks in your offices, you should have breaks while you are working from home as well. That if 11 o'clock was your coffee time in office, do that even now. And for 10 minutes, you take that break. In that 10 minutes, you talk light, casual on phones or in the family. If there are people, you can do that. That will break the monotony. That will not make you feel that overwhelmed that, okay, one after other, you are into meetings. So take that break, then take a lunch break, then take another coffee break around 3:30, like you usually do in offices. We should not skip that. That routine should not break. That routine should be there. And also, and you have to establish concrete working hours. Even the office people, the bosses have to see that your employees get those concrete working hours. Other than that, you have to, in those breaks, you have to talk casually and lightly. At home, if there anybody at home, or if there's no one at home that you can talk to, you can pick up your phone and call a friend and talk lightly, casually, like you do in offices. When you go for coffee breaks, you talk to people. So do that. Then another thing is that you should, which you all know probably, you should have a separate designated place as your workplace. If just a desk, make it your workplace. Other than that, nowhere else will you take your work in the home. These are little things which make a lot of difference. Uh, these will ease your stress a lot, because as it is facing the camera, taking the call, all that is stressful. Zoom call is not a casual thing which just you're doing every day. So now it is happening day in and day out. People are taking classes, sessions non-stop. Like I know a lot of my friends who are into teaching, they're taking non-stop classes of 100 students online, Zoom paid. They're taking these classes, and it has caused them so much stress. They first feel shoulder problems, then they feel headache, and so they used to tell me that they are feeling this, but they didn't realize. But within a month or 2 months, they collapsed. A lot of my friends, they just collapsed. They either had a nervous breakdown or some spinal problem. This happened last year when the pandemic started. By summers, they were all cracking up. All these people were, you know, cracking up because of the physical challenge which this work was bringing. So that brings us to physical exercise. You have to do some stretching, yoga. This has to be not taken casually. We keep reading these things everywhere, so we start taking them very lightly. But these are not simple little things. They matter a lot in life. They matter a lot, because these things will bring discipline in your life. Finally, what achievers have better than others is discipline. So you have to have that kind of discipline where you, no matter how tired you are, you will do that 30-minute stretch, yoga, or weights, or running, or jogging, or walking, whatever is your way of exercising. But you have to do that for 30 minutes at least, with discipline. And discipline goes a long way in taking away mental stress. Because if you are stressed, you have to see that how do we get rid of that stress. You have to discipline, I believe, is one big thing which demarcates achievers from everyone else. So, and you have to also realize that there are communication challenges. One, because internet, like we had a challenge, 30 minutes were gone in all this. So we have to see that those challenges are taken care of. When you are in offices, your internet problem, you call the person and he will do the internet connection. That guy will do. You don't have to bother about that. Here at home, when we are working, we have to take care of everything. We have to take care of the internet problem, the communication problem, the network. So everything is coming on you, which is causing stress. So you have to keep that in mind, that all these things have to be working in process here. And at home, while you are on a call, there is some courier guy coming, there's somebody making noise, there's some other disturbance. So there are a lot of things happening which you are dealing at one point, all these together. So you are multitasking, your mind is not. Mind cannot multitask. Mind will do only one thing at a time. But we are multitasking, and so you're doing everything haphazardly, nothing conclusively. So that is not satisfying you, and that will again make you unhappy when you're not satisfied with what you're doing. So you're again making yourself unhappy. You have to work in such a manner that you get happiness and satisfaction from it, which is very important. Also, one very important thing which I was talking to Vineet also yesterday is that we forget one thing, that there will come a period which will be truly post COVID. When COVID will get over, this world will still go on. You people will still carry on with life. Your careers have to progress beyond that, because you will see a time 20 years, 30 years beyond COVID. Your career growth depends on what you do now. You cannot take it easy that, okay, it's pandemic, we have to take it casually. No, you have to work on yourself. Even if taking online classes, online courses, which are a lot of them there, so that you are, by the time this thing gets over, you are better equipped to face the world. And the new world is going to be much more competitive and full of only achievers. The world will not have scope for people who are working in a half-hearted manner. This world now, which is coming post COVID, will have no frills attached. All the frills are going to be taken away. Only those who are really good, really competent will survive. So you have to prepare yourself for that world. You have to, come armor yourself in this period. So other than your work from home, you also have to train from home for the next world, for the future world, which is coming now, or maybe 2 years down the line when the COVID gets over. And there are, other than communication and this kind of challenge, then one more thing which I think was, there are motivation challenges when you're working from home. Motivation is not coming. Like when you're coming to office, you like to have your, say, a new nameplate or new sitting area, you want to keep it nicely, little promotions, growth. All that is not happening now. People are not getting promoted now. That little plate with your name on it, you don't see it now in your office, where, say, director or VP so and so. So those things are not happening, which are really motivational. So success in workplace, success in office also depends on that. So you have to keep working in such a manner that you do not get demotivated. You have to keep in touch with your real self, not to get demotivated. Somehow, hire a life coach or do something else. Best is that you keep doing physical exercise, which will keep you motivated and keep adding to your qualification. That is very important, that you keep upgrading, updating yourself for the future world, the 2 years down the line, the post-pandemic world. You have any?
Yeah. In fact, yeah, thanks for that. I mean, it's really good to understand, and I really like the fact that instead of taking it lightly, we have to be even more alert and be aware of our situations and make the most of it, because post-COVID world is going to be where we have to really come up with the best of ourselves. So I think
Right.
that's one of the takeaway I'm taking from this. Now, other thing is which I wanted to touch upon is many times we feel confused about. A lot of people feel confused about are they the one feeling this way, or is everybody feeling the same way, that sometimes they feel that we are not reaching anywhere, we are not going anywhere. So how do you recognize your feeling, and how do you recognize that you are getting either demotivated by something? So because this is all related to feelings. I mean, how do you recognize that something is going wrong? You have to correct.
See, one very important change which you have to observe is, like I told you earlier also, is sleep. Disturbance in your sleep pattern is the first sign of any stress or any kind of thing which is putting pressure on you. That means you are getting disturbed by something when you're not able to sleep properly. Then there is some kind of pressure which you'll feel in your head. You can call it a headache, but it's actually your nerves are stretching so much that you are getting headache. Then shoulder, and you feel, either you eat too much in stress, you start, your eating pattern changes. Largely people start eating a lot, and in pandemic, when you are working from home, everybody, I think, is eating too much. That's a sure sign that you are stressed, because otherwise you would discipline yourself, you will control what you are eating, you will eat only when you want to and only how much you want to. But when you are stressed, you can't stop, you just, comfort eating happens. So these couple of things which you have to notice for sure. You should not eat. So once again, I'm telling you, this can, you will not require anything. You can yourself check these things. The moment you start, binging or overeating or over watching of Netflix or OTT things, that is a sure sign of some or the other thing which is bothering you. So you have to take it seriously at that point. You don't even need a life coach or any help of a therapist or anything. Just be firm with yourself, discipline yourself that I'll get up at this point, this time, I will do this, I will do this thing. Whenever you discipline yourself, you get a sense of satisfaction and your next step becomes easier. So discipline is very, very important. Discipline goes a long way in motivating you. You yourself can be your best motivator if you discipline yourself. Like if I tell myself that tomorrow morning I'll get up at 5 and do my yoga or whatever exercise I will do for an hour, and if I can do it, if I can get up at 5 and if I can do my exercise for an hour as I had promised myself this evening, then after that 1 hour of my exercise, I will be so happy, so satisfied, like nothing succeeds at success. So that will be my motivation for the entire day. Then I will not need any life coach or anybody. That thing in itself will see me through the day. So people who get up early, who have a morning routine, mostly successful people you will see have a morning routine and they are able to follow that day in and day out. All people, anybody you pick up in any field, any profession, who has seen immense success, has shown that discipline and that motivation is there, which is coming only from discipline. Motivation is not coming from somewhere outside, it is coming from within. When you show discipline, when you show the courage to do what you wanted to do, that will motivate you so much. You will not need any motivational books or gurus or anybody. That in you will be the biggest motivation. So I
Right.
think we have it in us, we just don't do that, you know. So you need
Yes.
somebody to tell you repeatedly that, okay, like when we were kids, our parents used to say that get up on time in schools like convents and all. Morning, the moment you go, there's exercise and all. So all that was trying to inculcate a certain kind of discipline, a routine. There have to be some rituals in life which are followed day in and day out. Like when we were commuting to our offices, so every morning that was that ritual that you will get dress up, take a metro, reach office. So metro time was a time when you were driving to office, you were listening to FM, but you were focused on, in your mind you were making up that today I have this meeting at this time, this I have to do, this is what I have to do, this person I have to call. So on the way, you are thinking of all these things which you're planning out your day in your mind. So that was a ritual. Your commute was not just commuting. Like a friend of mine, she would carry all her cosmetics, lipsticks, everything in her bag. I said, why do you carry all this? She said, metro may I put up all this. So that was a ritual for her to get dressed up, I mean, do her face and all in the metro. So like we plan out our day, we prepare ourselves for the day while we are commuting. Today that has been taken away. today that, because if you have to go sit for a meeting, for a 9 o'clock meeting at home, you have to yourself prepare your cup of coffee, first get dressed up, then get your coffee. There's just not even 2 minutes gap for that meeting. Whereas when you were coming from home to office, there was 1 full hour gap where you had your time to bring your thoughts together. So these are little rituals which help you in life, which help you stay focused. Today you don't have that focus. At home you are from one thing to other. You are like with, like right now you're in meeting of 5 minutes before that, 2 minutes before that you were in the kitchen spilling tea and spoil. I mean, you're doing all kinds of things. So that has gone. So the focus to some extent has to be uh, uh, you have to bring it back to your work if you really have to
Right.
grow, because one does look for growth in profession. You all should. I think it's criminal not to want to be successful, not to want to be achievers. We all, boys, girls, everybody wants to be successful. So to be successful, my basic thing I would say is that whether pandemic or not a pandemic, you have to have discipline in yourself. Discipline can take you along, and especially in these disturbing times like pandemic where everything has gone haywire. We see the news, you see not just news, everybody, like in, I think all the families, there's been some or the other tragedy. So we're going through so much. So in this disturbing time, we all have to depend wholly on ourselves. Don't look outside for help. Take that help from within you. Seek that help from within you. I'm telling each one of you who's attending this that if you can take this one thing from me, that all that you are seeking outside lies within you. First step towards that is discipline. That's a most important thing in life, especially for very young people. You bring that in your life and see how life changes. Within a week, you'll see a change. And if it doesn't happen, you can call me up. And
Right.
so these are all things which are not anywhere outside. You don't have to really go outside, look for life coaches, look for motivational speeches or speakers. Everything is there, and your like charts which I show, which Vineet shared with me, your responses, a lot of
Yeah.
people, though by and large they were very good. I showed the reports to my son also. I said, what do you say about this? He said, I can simply say they don't need you. They are all happy people. I said, I'm glad they're happy people. But in that also, I saw disturbance in the sleep.
In fact, the survey that we did with our employees, what we found was so there was a particular question where it was asked that what do you feel when you are stressed out? What are your feelings, internal feeling? So the top three feelings that has come out when people feel stressed is one is the anxiety, the headaches, and the anger. So these are the three most prominent feeling that they get. So what does it tell you? I mean,
Anger tells you that you have somewhere dissatisfied your own self. Whenever you are angry, it's not anything to do with anybody else. Somewhere you have disappointed your own self. I'm disappointed with myself, so that anger will come out on somebody else.
right.
If you are
In fact,
happy with yourself, if you have done everything that you were supposed to do good, you will not be angry. So all angry people are dissatisfied with themselves.
right. In
Yeah.
fact, we also saw a lot of responses where people are saying that they are not happy with the time management, their own time management.
Hmm.
They are not happy with the way they are dealing with their overall day schedule. And I agree that this also brings a lot of frustration and anger that you're not able to manage your time well, and this might lead to your earlier thing that you have said is if you're not disciplined,
Yes.
you
Who
might
will
start.
manage your time for you? Only you are going to manage your time.
Yes.
You know, if I have to be in a meeting at 5 o'clock, I can't blame anybody else for my coming at 5:15. Who is
Hmm.
responsible for my not coming? Not the traffic. Because if I know that Bombay has traffic, I should start at such a time, keep giving myself so much margin that I reach at 5 still. In Delhi, Noida, Bombay, wherever you are, there will be time. You are used to that traffic. You know how much time that's going to take. So you keep that margin in mind. So that discipline is somewhere lacking in you. So your own frustrations convert into anger, which you bring out on others. So anger is only showing your failure to discipline yourself, your failure to manage yourself. So you first have to discipline yourself. You have to be very firm, very strict with yourself. If I have to get up early tomorrow morning, I cannot be watching Family Man in the night till 3 o'clock, binge watching. No, you can do it only on weekends or when you do not have next morning anything to do. But if I have a morning meeting to attend, I cannot be, you know, wasting my time till 3 o'clock in the night. So
Right.
you have to, that priorities have to be set up. Those discipline is, once again, I'm telling you, especially for very young people, you still have to form those habits. You can. For
Yeah.
elders, older people like me, those habits are already formed. It's difficult to change me at this point of time. But for younger people who are 30 years younger to me, it's easier for them to change themselves, to learn from things. And because their challenges are bigger than what the challenges we had. And because pandemic never happened for throughout my life, it happened now. But for you, you cannot be so sure that 10 years, 20 years down the line, there will not be another pandemic. There will be many more pandemics coming our way. This will
Right.
not be that rare a phenomenon as it was now. It will happen more because we have disturbed everything around us. So,
Yeah.
these things are going to happen. You will not be shocked. You will not be surprised for when the next pandemic comes. But you have to prepare yourself. You have to gear yourself up like a car. You have to, everything. Machines are changing with time. Similarly, human mind, human body has to change. You have to equip yourself, and your physical body is a very important tool that you have in your hand. So physical body, now that you were earlier walking so much to go to metro, walking so much in your workplace, you're going up and down, doing a lot of physical activity, which is not happening today. So you have to make up for that. Otherwise, your body will get used to that sitting down role, which you don't want to. Your body needs to have movement. It's a tool. It's a machine which has to be used. Similar is the case
Yeah.
with your brain. Your brain is also an application. Like you use applications, there are different things that you can use in an application, but if you do not use it, if you don't do it, that application is a waste. So your brain, everything is in your hands. You know how to use it. It's for you to determine and channelize all those things. You cannot blame anybody else for what's happening in your life. No pandemic, nothing. People are doing well during pandemic also. There are a lot of people who are doing so well. Like there's a small example I wrote an article sometime back for a book on leadership and responsibility during pandemic, and I chose Sonu Sood to be my leadership and responsibility ka role model for that period. So you all know what all he has done, so that is beyond this.
Right. No, very well said.
Mm.
So I just wanted to pick upon one sentiment that you were talking about is the change, the change that we have to bring in and the change which is going to come. So if we look at the new normal which is going to happen, and we would be often on working within pandemic, out of pandemic, inside pandemic. So, what do you think in this new normal? What are the top few things which would we should make ourselves ready with? What are the areas where we should equip ourselves with? What are the skills? What are the top three things you think we should be readying ourselves with in the
See,
new
one,
normal?
looking at the pandemic, we have to take care of your health. We have to,
Yeah.
because only those who are fit will survive. And you've seen it around you. People who are, who did not take it seriously, who did not take their health that seriously, They gave up. So we have to take our health very, very seriously. You have to necessarily work on your physical fitness, then take the due precautions for the pandemic. That's regarding the pandemic I'm talking, which is very, very important. Your physical health, you have to really be, you can't neglect it anymore. You have to be, so physical fitness is number one. Then your professional qualifications, you have to keep upgrading. Your skill, whatever is your skill, you have to become master in that. You have to become your best. So this is the time which you should use for upgrading your skills, upgrading yourself, and preparing yourself for the future world, which is going to be much more competitive and much more, only the fit in every sense will survive, in terms of the skill, in terms of the physicality, everything. Only the fit. It's not the money, it's not other things which will matter. Your skill is one thing which will matter the most. Skillful people, skill, whatever is your profession, whatever is your field, work on the skill, become the best in that. So today, like, there is no scope. If you watch IPL and all, the cricketers who are excellent, even like tennis tournaments which is going on right now in Paris, French Open, there you see that new youngsters that have come up, their skill is so much different from a Roger Federer and all, who are technically very good, but there are new people who are hardly using those old techniques. There are new techniques which are coming up. So you have to keep upgrading your skill, keep working on newer ways of fighting the battle which you are into, whichever is your field. It's a battle down out there. So you have to equip yourself to be the best version of yourself in your profession. You cannot be second best. There's no way. Second best will not survive. So you have to be best.
Right.
So keep upgrading your skills.
Great.
And this is the time which you can use, you should use. And one more thing is that keep connecting with people in your own field who are better, who are the best, so that keep keeping watching them, how the growth pattern was there, how this person grew, how the graph grew. So you learn from that. Learn from people who have grown in your field, how they grew. There is something or the other to learn from everyone, but you have to imbibe those things in yourself. You can't just watch and learn. You have to imbibe those qualities and bring them in yourself. Finally, it's you who has to do, because nobody else is going to do your work. You will have to do so. Imbibe everything that you can from anybody. Everybody can be your teacher. Learn those things and make them yours. Don't be ashamed of that. That
Right.
if Federer was doing it, you can't do it. Make it your. It's no shame to copy people.
Right. No, thanks for that. And I think the takeaway is being the best version of yourself. I really like this. And
Yes. Today there is going to be, now in the world coming 2 years down the line, there will be no second best. There can only be survival of the best. In your own field, you have to be the best.
right,
Strive for that. At least you achieve, you struggle to be there, and you will. If you want to, you will be there. You will be the best.
right, right. So,
Do not
I'm
settle
sure.
for second. Yeah.
Yeah, please carry on. You wanted to say
Yeah,
something.
what I was saying is that you should not stop at being second best.
Yeah.
Be your best.
Yeah, but Raghi ma'am, I'll
And,
just comment here. Does this not put a stress cycle on you? I mean, I know you need to strive, but uh, being put in a position where you have to be the best, that itself can create a pressure cycle on someone. I think should we have? It's okay to be second best.
No, your own self is, you are your own benchmark. So you are not competing with others, but till you are the best version of your own self, Nikhil, you will not be able to, because if you become lazy or lethargic and do not perform your best, you will not succeed. Now there is this world is going to be too competitive now, You have to be the best version of your own self. Your competition is with your own self. So it's not that you take pressure and compare yourself to your peers. You have to be the best version of your own self. Earlier, we could, like in our lifetime, I'm talking of myself, we could be our second best. But today, no. These people will not be able to survive this world. And I think because there is so much in them, they are so much more capable and talented. They have to be, they cannot take it lying down. They have to keep challenging their own selves. It's not about taking pressure. There will be pressure, but they have to take it. They can take that pressure. Till you have pressure, you will not be pushing yourself. You have to keep pushing yourself harder and harder till you achieve, because there will be the earlier, like our parents used to work for 30 years, 35 years. They would work till 60, 65. Now the world will not be like that. You will burn out by the time you are 40, 45, 42. There will be burnout. So because of that, you will not be working for a very long time. Maybe you do something else which you like doing, something which is not your profession. You'll keep doing that. But the die-hard competitive part has to be there only till, say, 40s. So that 20 years of your life, you have to really slog and work hard, the hard way. Because people who do not work hard for those 20 years also will not really achieve much. So they will be, average people, or people who are just striving to be something and struggling throughout their life. So I don't think it's a very good feeling to be struggler for your entire life. You have to be there somewhere, wherever you want it to be. You should reach close to that goal, and the sooner you do that, the better it is for you.
Right.
Nikhil,
Yeah.
does that?
Yeah.
I know it's
See,
ideally we shouldn't pressure. Yeah.
right. No,
Yeah,
sorry. So I understand that say I get the point of discipline, not being complacent. It is fine. But probably this part that I'm competing with other peers, that is where I had the disconnect. Perhaps you're saying just be,
your
I
own
would be
self.
okay. Yeah.
No, your
And
competition is not with
so
somebody else.
I'm
Your competition is with your own self.
yeah, so I'm
So
not saying don't work hard, but then there's a balance, like you said, so I may be good at a certain skill, my own work, but then there's a discipline that okay, it is up to this 9 to 6, like you were saying, and balance it out with other activities. So overall personality, not just the work, the profession that I'm in, but as an
definitely,
overall self. That is where I would,
yes,
grasp it rather than, being in a particular profession only. I have to be best and then leave with the other aspects of the personality.
yeah.
So
So
that
here
way, I agree.
I'm talking to you. I'm your colleagues here. I'm talking to them only as professionals. I'm not talking about their personal lives at all in this. I'm talking of their personal growth and their professional growth. Personal growth also in terms of profession. I was not talking of, of their relationships, of the families. No, that is a separate issue altogether. But that also will do well if there is discipline, if there is satisfaction in the front of your profession. You will be happier at home also. You will see people who are professionally unsuccessful are also personally unsuccessful. In the personal lives also they will have problems. So that balance is very close knit. But right now I was talking only of, largely because we are talking of these people from work at home, and I was only focusing on the work front here. Then of course
Right.
holistic, and we have to take care of both the things, which is a separate issue, and that balance is very tricky, which will take another couple of sessions if we have to talk of that. But
Right,
yes,
right, right.
professional success goes a long way in making your personal life successful. Because
Right,
if you are dissatisfied with your own self, by what you have achieved, what you aspire to achieve, my thing is that somebody aspires to be a lot, somebody aspires to be there, and he has reached only this level, he will definitely be dissatisfied. But somebody who aspired to reach this level only, he will be happy reaching there. So he should not want to go where somebody else is going. So it's your own aspirations, your own self, what you want to do. So your competition is your own self. But yes, pressure will be there even then, because we all, we see whatever we aspire for is always a little beyond our reach. I will not aspire to get something which is just easily available. My aspiration will always be a little higher, but my aspiration will not be this high. So we'll aim only for something which is within reach, but a little beyond reach. So that much we all have to push ourselves, that to reach at least what we aspire to be.
right.
You get it? So
Yeah.
your level of aspiration has to be satisfied. Otherwise, there will be gross problems in every other area of your life. Because if you aspire for something and you are not reaching that, you'll be grossly dissatisfied.
Right. There's another question which is there. How do we develop the emotional connection that we had in the office now that we all are working remotely? So, what steps can we take for the same bond to be formed even while we are connecting remotely?
One which I think you people are already doing from your office, that once a week you have to have that connect of all your office people, and like somebody's birthday is there that week, have that celebration, virtual celebrations, and all those things have to be done there. Plus you have to proactively connect with, I connected with somebody in my office in my coffee break. So go out of your way and talk to those people. And also because you have to check in, how are you in pandemic, if so you have to be connected. That is very important, not just with your office colleague. I would say that you have to remain connected with your family, your friends. Otherwise also, this is a very important time. And in your office, whoever are your close, even remotely you knew, like yours I think is a small group, so you can remain connected. And the employees have a big role here to play, that every week you should connect. Every Friday I think, have some session with just yourself, other than what you call people from outside to talk and all. But for all of you, just you people, have Friday or Thursday or any day which you want to, and do celebrations and virtual parties where somebody's birthday is there, or somebody is talking, or just cracking jokes, or give decide beforehand that today it'll be your platform, you speak and talk, or whatever talents you have. Somebody is good at telling jokes, somebody sings, somebody narrates stories, or experiences in the pandemic. So that sharing once a week is very important to connect. And otherwise they can keep talking to whoever people they were close to. That is going to be very important. Networking is very important. You have to remain connected and be thankful for internet and for phones. That's a boon today. It's connectivity has to be there. Networking is very, very important. And in your field, whoever are the best people, or whoever inspired you in your office, talk to them, listen to their stories, how they grew. Discover people, explore people, read about them, read books about people who have succeeded. Networking is going to be very important, which is very, very important today. Just sitting quietly at home will not do. So you guys have to remain connected through the office. You can every Friday, I think you are already doing that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, what you can do is that let them have their platform, the sharing, whatever was the pandemic, some whatever the learning has been from pandemic, or what were your experiences. Let people talk about that. Let them exchange their views. During coffee break, your first coffee break, you were talking to people. So just call that person up and share some gossip, and that gossiping is one very important part of office politics. So you can do that, continue with doing that, gossiping and office politics and coffee breaks, and that has to be regularly given also when you are working. So like usually around 11:30 we take a break in the morning. So keep that time for a break for everybody, so that they can at home also just chill 15 minutes, 10 minutes, have coffee, talk to people around you, or just call up your colleagues in office only and exchange notes. So that is very important. Connectivity is going to be very important.
Right.
Nobody should be left alone. If you feel that somebody is not, you must be having WhatsApp groups and all. If somebody is not being active, you notice that where he or she is, call them up and find out if everything is all right or not.
Right. Right. There's another question which has come up, which is around how can we improve the sleep quality? Say we put ourselves away from all the distraction and gadgets and still struggle to get sleep. How can we improve on that?
That 1 hour before you sleep, before whatever time is your sleep, you should have a fixed time to sleep. So 10, 10:30 max, 11, 10, between 10 and 11 should be your max. Other than weekends, you should sleep by, that's the best time to sleep. Because if you sleep at 11, so between 11 to 1 or 11 to 1 is the time when you sleep. So that 2 hours of sleep counts for, say, about 3 hours of sleep. That gives you that kind of relaxation. So you should sleep early, meaning by 10, 10:30, 11, you should sleep. And before that, for 30 minutes or so, you should stop touching your phones, your, iPads or laptops, nothing to do with any digital thing, no television, and try and meditate for 10 to 15 minutes before you sleep. Try to relax your mind in whatever dim light or no lights. Meditation is very good before you sleep. And there's something which, which the monks do, which you can try. Some people who really have problem sleeping, that you lie down on your back and focus on your limbs, and from your limbs, got your feet and your hand, get all the energy. Imagine that you are drawing all the energy from your limbs into your vertebral column, into your spine, which is the collection of all your energy. So you're getting all your energy and soaking it into your spine. That's a seat for relaxation. That way you will sleep easier, you'll sleep better. So the next morning when you get up, you will be more productive. You don't want to get up half-heartedly. You don't get to want to be up only, partially. The 25% of you is tired, or 50% of you is sleepy and drowsy. No, you will be 75% awake if you have a good sleep like that. Try doing that. I've never tried it, but I think it's a good way. People who have problem sleeping can try that bring all your energy from your limbs, gradually focus on that and bring it to your spine, and then sleep. That's the best sleep. Otherwise meditation also helps, uh, 15 minutes before you sleep.
Okay,
And no
great.
digital
Thanks
things, at
for
least
this.
30 minutes or an hour before that, before you sleep.
Right. Thanks for
Be-
these wonderful tips. I'm sure these will work. I'll definitely try to do this monk thing.
yeah, do it. I think this helps. I sleep very easily, but people who can't sleep do that. But yes, once you cross that 11 o'clock limit, then sleep becomes evasive. Then you find difficult to sleep. Then you struggle to sleep. So best is that you sleep between 10 to 11. That's the best time. That will give you
Right.
the most relaxed sleep.
Okay. Okay. There's another very interesting question which has come up. How do you define self-love, and how do you differentiate between self-love and self-discipline, and which one of those should be prioritized?
Both. Self-love, if you love yourself, you will discipline yourself. Self-love is that keeping yourself as the topmost person in your life, because you are the first person who you come across to. So you have to love yourself the most. And when you love yourself the most, you will take care of yourself. You will discipline yourself. You will get up in the morning, do some exercises, and take care of yourself. Take care of your dreams and aspirations, because they are nobody else's dreams. They are your dreams. You have to take care of them. You will have to struggle and make them achievable, because that nobody else is dreaming for you. You are dreaming for yourself, so you have to achieve them. So your self love is the most important thing, and because of self love you will come to discipline yourself. That is self discipline.
Right. I think I'll take one more before we
Yeah.
wind up. It's been a long session.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
Thanks for being there. So there's another very pertinent question, which is about that due to this remote working, there are times when we felt that there's a lot of trust deficit, and that trust deficit keeps on increasing. Maybe because of our perception, because we are trying to reach somebody, that person is not available, and we immediately start feeling that that person is consciously not avoiding us or something. So how do you ensure, or what to practice such that the deficit doesn't widen up more? And do you really think that being remotely apart, this increases the trust deficit?
No, I don't get it. How is that coming in your work life? Who
In
do
the
I
sense,
mean?
because when you were there, when everybody was there in the office, you are meeting everyone face to face, and you could see the expression, you could see the body language, you can connect. But now remotely, when you're talking to people, many times you do not understand what that other person is telling you. You can't even see the body language, you can't see the expression, you can't make out the tone sometimes. So this I think leads to some
Yeah,
trust deficit. But I think Shubham wants to add something.
I think what he meant was the person who asked question, things like even if you are not picking up the phone, the other person is not picking up the phone, and you're thinking, is he avoiding? Is he, there? Otherwise, you could just walk up to the desk and you could sign a job and you know what he's working on. But
That
now
wasn't a,
there
Yeah.
is this,
that wasn't a
Yeah,
question
that
from.
is definitely there. That will remain. Those things have to be. That's why you have to remain connected in the break time and all. You just call them up and say that, why is it? Yes, that gap is there. That definite. It's a very good point. That gap is definitely be there, and you can't do anything about it. You have to only take your chances and call that person up and ask straight away that, are you upset? Did I upset you by doing this or that? That is definitely there. Those remote relationships will have problems. Yeah.
There is one other thing which I just wanted to add, Rakhi, is what with this particular question where you have this anxiety of someone not picking up and all that. I think lately, if you start, especially during this pandemic time, if you start telling yourself that if it is difficult for you as a person to handle so many things in this time, and if it is getting difficult for you as a more empowered person, let's say, or more disciplined person, how difficult it would be for the other or as well, to handle these things. I think if that thought comes to your mind, then you start getting a little more relaxed about the
True.
responses about the others. I
Yeah.
think
So
it's almost like some kind of a compassion is being forced on you, in a way. By
absolutely. You have to work that way. That's the best way, Shubham. I agree with you that that would be a good approach. And I think that is the only approach for the way you can work like this. You have to trust and think that people are going through tough times, so this could be something which is unavoidable, that he's not able to connect with you. So don't mistrust. Trust is something which we need in these disturbing times. We don't have to doubt each other, we don't have to get angry with each other, or you know we have to give them the benefit of doubt. We are all going through it together. It's not like, so we have to but I think this question is deeper. There is a deeper problem in this question which needs to be addressed separately, because this lack of trust is something which is very, very important in relationship. And these little things, it can happen, yes, and which is very right that we would earlier talk that why did you do this, and you can even go to your senior colleagues and say that, sir, I didn't like this, or ma'am, this, why did you do this? But today you cannot. You'll just keep imagining that. But still, I think you can, they're just a phone call away. That's the best way to do. Just call them up and find out that I have a feeling that it was like this. Clear your doubts. That's, so transparency is what is required. So for that, you take the first step if the other person is not taking. I think that's the best way to deal with it.
Fine. I think thanks a lot. Though there are other things coming up, maybe I can separately send you the questions, and if you find time, you can respond to those. And but I think thanks for your time. You have been on vacation. You have been out,
No,
and
no.
still you
This
are.
was fun. It was a
Yeah,
pleasure.
so really, we are very touched by this gesture also for you taking out time and
Thank you
enjoy
so
your.
much.
All right then.
Thanks a
Cheers.
lot. Bye to all of you. Bye.